This province's largest lake is Lake Mistassini, which is fed by the Rupert River. A hydroelectric project in this province has sites on the East Main River. This province is home to magma intrusions known as the Monteregian Hills. The Chicxulub Mountains are located in this province, where the Nord and St. Maurice rivers rise from the Laurentian Mountains. The Manicouagan crater is in this province, which borders Ungava Bay. The Plains of Abraham are located outside the capital of this province, which includes the Gaspe Peninsula in its south. This province's largest city lies at the confluence of the Ottawa and St. Lawrence rivers. For 10 points, name this Canadian province that contains Montreal. And the answer is Quebec. This place is home to a gumbo that has varieties named after pigeon peas and chicken. That dish is a sopao, an amphibian with common and mountain varieties, which is named for its two-part mating call, is a symbol of this place. That animal is a type of frog known as the coqui. This place's El Yunque National Forest is the only tropical rainforest administered by the National Park Service. Shipping things to this place costs twice as much as shipping to nearby islands due to a law requiring goods shipped in the U.S. to be carried on American ships. That law was temporarily waived in September 2017 in response to a natural disaster on this island. For 10 points, name this U.S. territory affected by Hurricane Maria, whose capital is San Juan. And the answer is Puerto Rico. The wood carvings of the Bagaya Monastery are on the banks of this river in the former royal capital of Amarapura. Teak logs are often transported along this river, the longest in a country that supplies half of the world's teak supply. The confluence of the Mali and Namai rivers into this river was the planned site for the controversial Myitsone Dam. One can find George Orwell's former red brick house along the banks of this river. The Kachin people reside on the banks of this river, whose basin was the site of the Kingdom of Pagan. In one poem, Rudyard Kipling gave this river the nickname the Road to Mandalay. For 10 points, name this longest river in Myanmar that flows into the Andaman Sea. And the answer is the Irrawaddy River. This country's Kibale Forest National Park is home to a variety of primates, including the red colobus. The Basese people were forced to leave this country's Sese Islands due to sleeping sickness. Matauke is a dish unique to this nation made up of mashed unripened bananas. Safe Boda is a ride-hailing service similar to Uber for Boda Bodas exclusive to this nation's capital. A crane is located in the center of this nation's black, yellow, and red striped flag. This country's largest airport is in Entebbe, a city on the shores of Lake Victoria. Also known as the Pearl of Africa, for 10 points, name this Swahili-speaking country governed by Yoweri Museveni from Kampala. And the answer is Uganda. Winter weather on this lake is intensified by a wind known as labise. A trip to a castle overlooking this lake inspired the long poem The Prisoner of Chillon. The world's first passenger submarine, the Auguste Piccard, took visitors around this lake. Most of this lake's northern shoreline is part of the region of Vaud. The CGN operates steamboats on this lake from ports such as Vevey. A statue of Freddie Mercury overlooks this lake in a town where Claude Nobbs founded an annual jazz festival at a casino that caught fire in 1971. Evian water originates from a resort on this lake, whose other settlements include Montreux and Lausanne. The Rhone River passes through this lake, which lends its name to a set of conventions regulating the treatment of prisoners of war. For 10 points, name this lake in western Switzerland. And the answer is Lake Geneva. In October 2015, hikers in this park were stranded near Ubehebe Crater due to flash floods that also damaged a villa named Scotty's Castle. Like the nearby site of Devil's Hole, this park lends its name to an endangered species of pupfish. The original Star Wars films included shots of this park from Dante's View and in the Mesquite Flat sand dunes. Racetrack Playa in this park is home to sailing stones that mysteriously move across its surface. Teams of 20 mules transported borax out of what is now this park. This park is home to Badwater Basin and Furnace Creek, the latter of which reported a record high temperature of 134 degrees Fahrenheit. For 10 points, name this California national park that contains the hottest and lowest point in North America. And the answer is Death Valley National Park. Smaller wooden versions of these objects were given the name kava kava, meaning ribs. The British Museum exhibits one of these objects stolen from Orongo by the crew of the HMS Topaze. All of these objects were displaced within 150 years after Jacob Roggeveen became the first Westerner to discover them. These objects were constructed from material mined from the crater of Rano Raraku. Worship of these objects, which were sometimes topped by a red hat-like pukao, gave way to a so-called Birdman cult. These objects were displayed on platforms called ahu and were made from tuff, a rock made of compressed volcanic ash. For 10 points, name these humanoid monoliths venerated by the Rapa Nui people of Easter Island. And the answer is Moai. This nation's Bohol province is home to over 1,000 hills that turn brown during the dry season, an attraction known as the Chocolate Hills. The oldest Chinatown in the world is located in the Binondo neighborhood of this country's capital. Many dishes in this country's cuisine are served adobo style and make use of the purple ube root. One of the world's longest underground rivers runs through this nation's Palawan Island. Tagalog is spoken in this nation, and its two largest islands are Luzon and Mindanao. For 10 points, name this island country with a presidential palace located in Manila. And the answer is the Philippines. This country's DISIP security agency houses political prisoners in a converted modernist shopping mall called the Helix. The majority of the world's Pemon language speakers live in this country's Canaima National Park, which is the site of many sandstone mesas known as tepuis. One of this country's landmarks is named after the American aviator who crash-landed on it in 1937. Much of this country's crude oil deposits are located in a 5,100 square mile tidal bay that has a notable duckweed infestation. Angel Falls is in this country, and its central Llanos region is irrigated by the Orinoco River. Lake Maracaibo is located in, for 10 points, what country whose capital is Caracas? And the answer is Venezuela. The Texas Declaration of Independence was signed in a town named for this man located on the Brazos River. A mountain named for this man can be ascended via the Crawford Path and has the highest recorded wind speed in America. This man is the namesake of a bridge that links Manhattan to Fort Lee, New Jersey, that was closed by Chris Christie during Bridgegate. A mountain named for this man is the tallest peak of the White Mountains and the highest point in New Hampshire. His is the leftmost face carved into Mount Rushmore. For 10 points, identify this president, the namesake of a state whose largest city is Seattle. And the answer is George Washington.